Just like when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die, at that time there were so many sages and munis present. And he asked this one question, that I have 7 days to live. What should be my code of action in these 7 days where I can reach to the highest destination? And of course, there were Brahmavadis, there were Gyanis, Yogis, Bhaktas, there was all type of Rishis and Munis, and each has their own path of karma, Gyan, different proposals they all had. So in this way, it was a very critical situation that, because at that point Parikshit Maharaj, he was open to accept one person as his ultimate Shiksha Guru at that time, complete shelter, and he would follow him for the last 7 days. Even Narad and Vyasdev were present, but they weren't at that time saying anything. So, in this way there was a discussion being held amongst them that, who will be the one to give the instruction? Just at that moment, Sukadev Goswami, he entered to that sabha. And everyone stood up, except for his father Vyasdev and Narad, the father of his guru, the guru of his father. And Sukadev, he was a liberated soul from birth, and he had received the instruction about Krishna by Vyasdev and also seen Krishna even in the womb of his mother. So, then everyone unanimously said that Sukadev should instruct Parikshit. He's a liberated soul of the highest order. And then Sukadev, he spoke this Bhagavatam. You see, so there are all levels of ethics according to different standards of realization of absolute truth. Just like it says in the Bhagavatam, Sukadev described that Vadanti tat tattam vidang tattam yajganamadhayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate. That different seers of truth have described the nomenclature of absolute to be Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. But they all is non-different absolute truth. But different seers, they are seeing in different realizations. So according to one's realization, they will have different ethics. Those who do not have this absolute realization, these three are absolute, then they only give so many other type of instruction according to the Satya, Raja, Tamo. Relative instructions. Moral, niti, and nyay, vichar will be given. So, just like that, Sukadev Goswami, he was accepted to be the authority because he had seen Bhagavan. That means he also knew Paramatma and Brahman. He had already realized Brahman and he also realized Paramatma and Bhagavan. He knew all the three. When he was only Brahmavadi, he didn't know Bhagavan. But by mercy of his father Vyasdev, he could realize all the aspects of absolute truth. He was thoroughly conversant with the material world and the spiritual world, everything. So when one is only partially conversant, naturally there will always be a point where one will become confused what to do, what not to do.
He becomes conscious of his due course of life. That's what we believe.
You see, the point is one should, the real safe way is one takes the shelter of the higher authority. Just like in a court of law, they're taking two lawyers, both have the arguments, both have the law book, and they're presenting before the judge. The judge is considered to be a more senior person. In any case, even sometimes the lawyers are more highly paid. But ultimately the judge, because he will study the law books, and according to the authority of law book, he will give the verdict. You see. So that, and he'll also give reference to other cases. So law book means, what the law is, that is a shastra. And the verdict of other cases, this is like what other sadhus, Mahajanas, have said it and done in other time. This is also a type of evidence. So it is a duty of such judge to know all these things. So the guru, he has to be conversant with what is that particular, the shastra has so many different branches. You see. So there might be a medical guru, there might be astra guru for warfare, so on. But when one comes into the spiritual, there's also the spiritual scriptures are there. Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the spiritual line. There's Upasana Kand, Karma Kand, different kandas. So when one comes into the spiritual line, then there are also special scriptures for that. And one is conversant with those scriptures and with those instructions. Then he has insight into everything, because that is the most subtle of all these sciences of the Vedas. Atma Vigyan, to know the self. Atata Brahma Jigyasa, that is the goal of the Vedanta Sutra. To inquire into the absolute truth. So, therefore one has to have bona fide spiritual master who is conversant with the spiritual matter, to be able to be sure. Even one himself may think that this is the way, but it should be confirmed. On my own idea, I may be wrong. Why should one take the risk? One slight mistake, and then one is in a great difficult situation. Bali Maharaj, he made a mistake. He lost everything, you see. In terms of his guru's vision. Of course, Bali Maharaj had a materialistic guru. He didn't have a spiritual guru. So his material guru gave him instruction how to become powerful in the material world. But in the ultimate issue, when it came a choice to follow Krishna or follow a materialistic guru, at that time he didn't follow the instruction of Sukracharya, he followed Krishna. So he lost his material position temporarily. But he gained again more than what he had. But he achieved eternal liberation from Krishna. And he also achieved the eternal association of Krishna. And later, then his guru also admitted that he was influenced by some material consideration. And that what had been done was correct. So one has to find such a spiritual master that doesn't have any material consideration. And then he'll always give the objective and absolute advice. What is to be done, what is not to be done. So what I feel still part of your question is unanswered. So maybe you can clarify.
I understood all right, but still something is very independent. In due course of time, we ourselves will be in a position to discard the unauthorized. I mean, when our consciousness goes, am I right?
I don't understand exactly what you mean. You mean that at that time you don't need a guru?
No, guru is there, but from guru we are taking it all right.
Guru means that he is the person who's already discarded the unauthorized.
Unauthorized, and he makes sense in a good...
Someone can, unless he is himself discarded the unauthorized action, then how he can be able to discern? So many people, they'll tell you, do this, don't do that. But then they themselves are doing the same thing they're saying don't do. So no one thinks that why I should follow this person. He's a nonsense. So, that the Acharya means has to show by example. Unless he is able to do, then how he can tell others you do? Even he may say, but that won't be taken so seriously. So one has to come up to the platform where he no longer performs unauthorized action.